What's up, guys? I'm Miguel.
Isaac.
And we're the guitarists for the Denver metal band Thoughtcrime. So we came up with the name Thoughtcrime. Well, we didn't really come up with it, right? If you guys have read 1984, pretty famous book by George Orwell, we kind of lifted the term from there. But we thought it pretty clearly represents like what we stand for as a band and kind of the biggest issues in society right now.
Yeah, free thinking is like tantamount to terrorism these days, so it's pretty perfect. All the censorship, all the shit we see these days. I think of it like Sense Offense and Equilibrium, which is a good movie. Check that out if you haven't seen it.
But yeah, in the book, Thoughtcrime is defined as, quote, an instance of unorthodox or controversial thinking considered as a criminal offense or as socially unacceptable. And that's what we are, right? We want to talk about things that don't get talked about or are actively pushed against in mainstream media. And yeah, we just want to bring awareness to the causes that we care about and do what we can to help fight for freedom, not only in America, but around the world.
Yeah, we love metal, we love justice as well, so it's a pretty good combo. Not enough people in the metal community really take care about that sort of thing, but what we're trying to do different, and we welcome everyone too, so.
Yeah. So our first EP are self-titled, and we released that earlier this year in February. We started working on it pretty much right away when the band formed. So a lot of the songs kind of already existed in some form before we all got together and started writing, because we kind of wanted to just get music out pretty quickly, and that way we could start building our brand, which we're starting to do now. Like since then, we released a single that covers Uprising by Muse, and we're planning to write a second EP pretty soon that I think is gonna be even better than our first one. So we're really excited for what's to come there.
Yeah, it should be much better. We kind of scattered a bit and got it done really quick the first time, but yeah, stay tuned for more, most definitely. It's gonna get way better.
Yeah, so lyrically the EP is kind of all over the place, but again, we are Thoughtcrime, so kind of at its core it's fairly political. The first song, Not Anymore, was written before Thoughtcrime was even formed, but that was always intended to be kind of an anthemic song of like fight the system, you know, say fuck you to the man, that kind of thing. But our hope is it can be kind of, again, like some kind of uniting chant that brings people together, and you know, like the most important thing we can all do right now, I think, is say no or not anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. To not say no is to say yes, and I think everyone's kind of feeling it. Everyone's sick of what's going on. Maybe they can't put their finger on it exactly, but you know, we have the numbers, so if we can inspire people with music and metal, then that's exactly what we want to do.
So then we have our song called Pestilence, which Isaac wrote here. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, that had some old beginnings too, and some old bands. Kind of just made its way over to here, quite a bit revised, and yeah, it's kind of our riff salad, you could say. It's for a certain type, yeah. The lyrics, I think, are maybe most relevant. People could kind of put their finger on that. I mean, Pestilence in 2020, and I mean, you did a lot of the lyrics on that one, which I think are some of my favorite lyrics on there. Something about a mad scientist kind of contriving the whole thing, which we can kind of see much evidence of, more so as time goes on, so.
Yeah, that Wuhan lab leak theory isn't really a theory anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a pandemic, a contrived thing. Event 201, Mickey Willis, look into his book, all that stuff can be proven, but
yeah.
But
yeah, then the next couple of tracks on the EP are kind of more personal songs. There's Alone, which is a song I wrote, just kind of about how a different way of thinking can make you a bit of an outsider. And then we have Fear of Nothing, which was written by our former drummer Jeff. That's kind of just a personal song about, I guess, being afraid of the unknown and wanting to like be something in life and not be nothing. And then the last song, kind of our epic of the EP, is called Long Live the King. It started kind of just as like a medieval themed song, but we wanted to kind of turn it into an allegory for corruption and how, like, I guess vicious cycles and nothing changes, right? So the song's about an evil king who needs to be overthrown, so the people rally behind a hero who manages to overthrow the king. But by the end of the story, we realize that the hero is really just as evil as the king in power, and he becomes the new king, and the cycle starts all over. And we thought it was kind of a poetic way of talking about what we're still experiencing now in politics in any country, really.
Yeah, you have to look at that song closer if you think we're like supporting authority or anything like that. It's really just the allegorical new boss, same as the old boss kind of thing. It doesn't matter. I mean, we get the choice between two senile retards every 2 years, so every 4 years, sorry. So it's like, come on, guys. Yeah, the reason one scumbag wins is because the other scumbag was even worse. It's just a vicious cycle. So
yeah,
epic song though.
Yeah. So the cover art for the EP, we really wanted to go for something like simple and bold. And kind of have something that would basically work as our like logo. Like, right, we wanted to have some kind of imagery that doesn't necessarily say the band name, but you know it's that band. Like, for example, Avenged Sevenfold has the death bat, right? And you don't have to see the words Avenged Sevenfold. You see that bat in the skull with wings, right? And you know it's Avenged Sevenfold. So yeah, we went with the hand holding a brain, and we thought like, that imagery and Thoughtcrime just go together well. And kind of the idea is that like that's the hand of the man. That's why we gave him like the suit sleeve, and like our brains are all like in his hand, right? So they're trying to control our minds is kind of what we were going for there.
Yeah, it was a hard time to make it not look like a ball sack, but yeah, eventually we got it pretty close. It was pretty hard for a lot of artists to get that brain right. But yeah, we got it looking good enough, obviously representative of what's going on, what we're talking about. Just oligarchical types. You're not allowed to challenge the dogma anymore. You're either part of the system or, you're a domestic terrorist or a threat to society.
Yeah, and shout out to our friend Petter for putting that together for us. He did an awesome job on the artwork.
Yeah, very impressive. Very hard to draw a hand around a brain for sure.
So yeah, do we think it's important to have a label deal? I would say in today's industry, not really. Most people will tell you that, in these days, labels don't really go looking for people. I don't even know if they still have A&R personnel. But at this point, labels are only going to be interested in a band once they already have a following and they're already making money. And at that point, what do you need a label for if you already have your own following? If you're a pop artist, maybe it helps because they kind of just find people that look good on camera, and you don't really have to sing or be able to play anymore. You just have to do what they tell you and look good. But as far as actual bands go, yeah, I think a label can help for sure, but most of the time in today's system, it's better to just do it yourself.
Yeah, it's all online these days. There's many people just utilizing social media and whatnot. We'd love to tour the world someday, but I don't know. Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates might have other plans for us. But yeah, hopefully that happens sooner than later. Yeah, I think we have more of a following in Europe or so, and hopefully more. It seems like just random European people find us, so hopefully they're feeling it. And yeah, no need for record deal necessarily.
So luckily COVID-19 hasn't really affected the band. Again, we formed during the summer of last year, so kind of right in the middle of lockdowns and everything, at least here in the US. So really we just kind of got to writing and recording right away. We knew there weren't going to be shows for a while, but we were lucky enough to play our first show earlier this year in May. So I think we've had like 3 shows by now. We're playing another show this weekend, and we've got another show scheduled in January. So yeah, COVID hasn't really slowed us down, but that could really change any minute with all the different mandates and stuff going on right now, which we'll talk about more later.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, and then new music that's impressed us. I'd say 2 bands that I'd love to give a shout out are Thank You Scientist and Lucid Planet. They're awesome bands that I think could definitely use a bigger following. Thank You Scientist is kind of like progressive metal mixed with jazz. You could call it progressive jazz, but I feel like there's just too many things going on. It's very poppy, it's very heavy, it's got kind of a rock feel, a very jazz feel as well. And then Lucid Planet, I would say they're like a psychedelic heavy metal band, kind of like Tool, but they definitely have their own identity. So be sure to check those guys out. What about you, Isaac?
Yeah, so we got Rivers of Nile, very cool band. They're very heavy and also have a kind of jazz element, saxophone infusement with it. Very interesting, very thematic. I think just about everyone would like it. Insane live shows too. And Whitechapel's new release sounds pretty promising as well. They're getting better and better as they go, I think.
Hell yeah. Alright. So unfortunately, COVID-19 is definitely affecting the music scene. Pretty much every venue, whether it's a local show or not, is enforcing that you have to have proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test to enter. And frankly, we think it's bullshit. After our next show, which is enforcing vaccines unfortunately, which we were not aware of until after we had agreed to it, so we were somewhat locked in. But we're going to refuse to play anywhere that enforces vaccine mandates. Like, we're not vaccinated, we don't plan on getting vaccinated, and we don't think that we should enforce something on our fans that we don't actually believe in. And we think if more bands start saying no, right, think of what just happened with Southwest Airlines, and they tried to mandate vaccines for their pilots. Enough of them said no, and they dropped the whole thing. So, like, you know, we might not be the most famous band, but it's got to start somewhere, and we need more bands to just say no and fuck you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we don't want to go along with the agendas, and it's just a shame because it's the sort of people that, you know, maybe once thought they stood for free speech or civil liberties, and just going along with the agendas. I mean, looking to 2030, Agenda 2030, the Great Reset, all this stuff, it's obvious that's where we're being prodded to. So, yeah, we don't agree with it. We hope enough people take a stand against it. And, I mean, there's plenty of evidence that this is just not even scientific. I mean, there's no evidence that any of these so-called vaccines stop transmission even. I mean, we've been fine. I know we're like domestic terrorists not wearing masks right now, but we've done just about everything, and yeah, haven't killed any grandmas or gotten deathly ill. So yeah, hopefully enough bands follow suit, because that needs to change.
Yeah, so the music scene in Denver, I'm honestly not super impressed with. Like, I've lived in Denver most of my life, and I've been playing live here for like 10 years now. And the music scene's definitely been dying in that short amount of time. Like, there's still a lot of great people and great venues around here, don't get me wrong. I got a lot of love for the people in the Denver music scene. But like big promoters like Live Nation and AEG just keep buying up the smaller venues, and then they don't allow local bands to play there anymore. So we're kind of like getting forced out of our own city. You know, they're only allowing big bands to play, and they're not letting local bands open those shows up either. And I think that's a big problem in general with why the music industry and local music is dying, not just here in Denver, but kind of everywhere. But I think especially after COVID, people are looking for live shows, and you know, famous bands can only come in town once a year at best, right? So go out there and support your local music scene. I know you guys got friends that have bands, like, go out and see them. That's the only way that anything's going to change, right? You vote with your money, so stop giving money to the man and start giving it to your brothers and sisters out there.
Definitely, yeah. everyone's super cool around here, but yeah, as Miguel said, slowing down, dwindling down. Yeah, so support them local artists.
Yeah, and so finally, future plans for the band. As I mentioned earlier, we're in the middle of writing our second EP, which we hope to finish up by the end of the year and start recording after that. So yeah, the second EP, we're spending a lot more time on it than we did with the last one. Like the first EP, the goal was kind of to just get it out so we could start working on building the band as a brand. But the second EP, we're really going for making sure each song is as good as it can be, and I think this one's going to blow the first EP out of the water. So if you guys like what we've got out now, you're definitely going to love our second EP when it comes out. And otherwise, since we're not going to be probably playing too many shows due to vaccine mandates, we're really going to focus on starting to put out online content and building our own channel. So lots of YouTube videos that'll hopefully be on Instagram and stuff like that too. But yeah, we just want to make music for you guys, entertain you, do what we can to brighten your day, and also get information out there that you might not see otherwise.
Yeah, it's what we've always wanted to do. So it's looking up for sure. It's going to be a much better release, better songs. I mean, obviously we want to tour the world and everything. Hopefully one day, if we get enough people to agree with this, then it could probably happen. But yeah, for now, just content management, uploading things, and bringing you guys a lot more.
Yeah. So if you guys want to stay updated with us, be sure to check out our website at www.thoughtcrimeband.com. Stay tuned for more music, more videos, more content. We'll keep it coming as long as you guys keep watching. So stay safe out there. Rock on.
Stay free, more important.
Yeah. Think for yourself.